Well, hello and welcome to the Car Care Nut Shop and welcome to post-renovation video. Folks, if you've been watching my channel, you've been watching the shop updates, you remember that we talked about the floor having issues. When Eros joined the team, we talked about that in that video. Well, you noticed that the color of the floor is completely different. And that is because we just redid the floor. I am so happy with how things turned out. The problems are gone, the stains are gone. Now this lines up with my theory of automotive shop doesn't have to be disgusting. You can actually make it where you could eat off the floor. You shouldn't, just for reference there, but just appearance-wise, it looks very clean. And that's how I like to keep it. Let's give you kind of a tour update of how, because we kind of reorganized things here, because after working in the shop for a while, we noticed some things that from my original idea of where we should put things kind of didn't work, or we could do it better, but we didn't want to change things because we knew we were going to have to pull everything out of here and redo it all over again. So we waited, but I have to say one thing about the floor company. They really came through, folks. Look, things happen. I'm not going to call it a mistake because actually they really discovered what happened here. When something happens to your client, to your customer, whatever, you can't undo it. But what you can do is make it right, preserve your reputation, just do the right thing. And that's important. And that's exactly what they did here. Folks, they were here 7 o'clock in the morning, well, the day that we were moving things out of the shop into a neighboring storage unit. 7 o'clock in the morning, there was 3 guys. They helped us move everything. They pretty much did almost everything. There's a lot of heavy stuff here. They're really hard to move and do this and do that. They really helped us here and made that process very quick. Then that was a Monday. Monday is 7 o'clock in the morning. Tuesday, they came here again, 7 o'clock in the morning. They were ready. They grind the floor again, applied the new epoxy, got everything done. They did not ground the floor all the way down to concrete. They just scuffed the pre-existing epoxy that was stained, and they poured this epoxy on top of it. And on top of that, the company that makes this epoxy, which I'd like to give a huge shout out because they were very professional, and I really appreciate them taking charge and kind of being here. They send one of their hot shots here. They call him the president. I don't know if he's actually the president of the company or not, but that's what they called him. He was here, he was looking, he was supervising, he was actually at some point working. They did everything right. I am very happy. So Tuesday they were done. They worked pretty much the whole day here. We left the floor to dry until Sunday. And you remember I posted on Instagram, that was the happiest Sunday for me to work. Usually I don't like to work Sundays. Nobody does. But me and Eros and the crew were here again at 7 o'clock in the morning. We pulled everything back. We arranged everything. We were probably done right around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Everything was done, and to a point where me and Eros were here. It's Sunday, we're working, and we just didn't want to leave because we were so happy that things are back and now everything is nice and clean. We've already driven cars. We've been working here. Nothing, no staining. I am very happy. There is one thing that is driving me crazy right now, so if you'll excuse my OCD, I have to take care of it. We have some dirt on the floor, so I'm just gonna excuse that. I gotta do that. This has been driving me crazy. So, let's give you a quick tour of how we rearrange things and why. Now, the first thing is we're actually going to start in the front, because if you've been to my shop before the floor was done, you remember that we had this stuff. This is actually a gym mat. And the reason I put it in the waiting area is the floor was staining so bad, and I tried to clean it. I was literally embarrassed to have people come in the door, look at the floor, it looked disgusting. So I scrambled the day before we opened. It was later in the day, it was a Sunday again. I went to Home Depot, bought a bunch of these. They were not very expensive. They were just under $200 to cover that room. And it really laid it all over the waiting room, just at least so it's a little bit more presentable. But now, here is the waiting room, and that is completely gone. It does need a little bit of cleanup. We've had a few things going on, but Now the epoxy floor shows. This was the original idea. There's a continuous flow. You guys, if you've never been to the waiting area, this is the waiting area. This is where you would be when you come in. We have some fresh drinks, and I have to give a huge shout out to Richard, who is a viewer. Super nice guys. I've known Richard for a long time. He brought us some water, brought us and you guys, when you come in to visit, some water. When you come into the shop, this is the entrance. You see the grill is still there, and the waiting area. This is where Mrs. Carcaranot usually is. We are looking for someone to help her out in the office, but this is the main area. And finally, we have a sign at the door, very simplistic sign. And in case you hear this noise in the background in the videos, every time you open a door, that sound, that's the alarm. But we finally have a sign at the door. It's a very simplistic sign. I'm not really big on big signs and stuff, but this door does need some oil, so it stop whining at us every time we open it. But let's go back in the shop and let's kind of show you what we changed here. So the first thing is, we put this here. I wanted it a little bit out from the work area. So this is all our fluids. We still have, we're good on stock on the oil. Oil has been really hard to get. We are very critically low, is what I call it, on WS fluid. I'm waiting for, I ordered 10 cases. We're still waiting for it. But I do carry some Mobil 1 now because 0W20 has been touch and go in case we have it for backup. And also, I have a few cars that are not Toyotas, can't really use the Toyota oil in them, so I use Mobil 1 for that. We finally have CVT fluid. We have some red coolant. These are the new additions. And I'm waiting for more stuff to arrive so we can kind of select fluids that I want to carry. AMSOIL. Let's have the AMSOIL conversation. I like AMSOIL products. I don't like their company, and I don't like their insistent dealers. I've actually had a viewer who was a dealer, came here, very nice guy, but I don't like a middleman. I never liked a middleman. I just like to deal with the company direct. I switched my differential fluid to AMSOIL from Redline. Redline is really stinky, and it stunk the whole shop. For some time, if you walk in our shop, it smells like gear oil, but I switched to AMSOIL. I like it, it's a good product, but I just don't like the middleman. I just like to order direct. So if you are that one viewer, sorry, but that's how I am. Moving over here, we moved our parts in progress, is what I like to call it. These are parts that we order for cars. So we work by appointment only. You schedule an appointment, we send you an estimate, you look at it, once you're happy with it, you authorize it. It doesn't really mean you're locked with payment or whatever, but that tells me you saw the price, you're happy with things up front without wasting my time, without wasting your time, driving all the way here, and then you know the price, wait a second, that's too much, or can't afford it, or whatever the case may be. But when I send you the price up front, you know we're good. Once you authorize it, you set your appointment, I order the parts, they sit here. Prices go up, parts are here, it won't change for you. That's just how I like to do things, upfront, transparent, and no problems in the future. So this is where these parts would sit, and we do have some quick struts here, my least favorite thing, but this is actually a 98 Avalon. We might actually film that one. It's just, it needs everything, and some parts are not available, and things can get really expensive. So we ended up going quick struts because we have no other choice here. But right next to it, this is our stock of oil. We do have very little 0W16. It's becoming harder to find. I have some 020, some 530, but I'm out of WS. I only have a few bottles left. And over here, we have another, first the two new garbage dumpsters that we just bought here. And this is the bags for them. But over here, I have another short block for a Venza. You know, I told you I have seen this too many times. Another Venza, another 10,000 mile oil change Venza, and another short block, and another the whole 9 yards. And this one we're actually doing VVTi gears as well because they rattle on cold start, so might as well take care of them while we're there. So this changed, because this used to be over there as well. This is here now, kind of out of our way. We don't need parts in our way, and I wanted parts to be kind of on the side, separate. kind of safe and put away. But then moving back here, we repurposed these mats that used to be in the waiting area to give us a rest for our feet. Standing on concrete for 8 hours a day, it does take a toll on your feet. But over here, we finally got a nice hamper from the uniform company to put the dirty clothes when we're done with them. We still have the washer fluid right here, but then we moved studio lights right here. We moved the AC machine here. It just makes more sense. We're using it back and forth, not over there. And then the diagnostic cart moved here. It just gives us better access because we're always using the computer to enter miles, look up information, look up stuff, add recommendations, whatever. So this is kind of in the work area. But in addition to that, the original works table, you've seen, I think a few of you might know this table from before. This is what I started my channel with. And I figured it's been sitting here for a long time. I haven't really used it a lot. I figured let's really use it in the shop because it's a really good table. I love it. So we put it here as kind of a bench. We have another bench right here. This is the first lift. So now you have areas to put stuff, put tools, whatnot. So it just gives us a better workplace. This is another mat because we're going to be standing here in front of the computer. Gives us a chance to rest our feet. This is a softer mat. And then we got this because oily rags, actually by code, they need to be in an approved container. So here it is. EPA, in case you're watching, we are storing them in the correct spot. I finally resolved the messy oil funnel situation. So we got a little tray right here. This is where the coolant funnels are going to go, so they can drip there, and we clean it periodically, and life is good. And the oil funnel, I just found a little jug. Put the funnel there, it'll drip down, life is good. The toolbox pretty much is in the same spot. We didn't really move it. I think it's a good spot. Kind of gives us access to both lifts at the same time. Then next to it, we put the black table. This is the movable one, the teardown table. This is just one that we can move around as needed, but when it's stationary here, it also acts as a bench for this lift. So as we work, we can put stuff here. This is a beautiful LS460. You'll see this in a video in a little bit here. We're working on it. They're actually stop filming midway, and we're filming this video so you can see the shop with the new floor. Press is still here. We moved this cabinet here because I feel like we're not gonna do a lot with it over there, and it's always in the way. We moved it here. We store a lot of parts here and some special tools. And then pretty much everything else remained the same. We still have the sandblast cabinet. We did actually end up buying a mini torch. I used to have one of these, of course. I gifted it to a friend. Then after I did that at the dealership when I left, I regretted it because now I don't have one. So I bought a new one. This works. I don't like big torches because there's a lot of legalities to having one. But the small torch, there's no legalities, so we're good. And then we put this big runner here. You know, you're going to be at the cabinet, you're going to be at the press, you're going to be at the sandblast. So this gives us a chance to also rest our feet. And per your recommendation, we actually left this grinder here, but no longer there are rags underneath it. I know you see rags there. These are just we were using it for this car, but this is here now, but this is going to be movable because we move it as we go, and everything else remained the same, except one thing. You notice our makeshift cones. Eros, should we tell them the story of what happened here? I think we should. I love you, Eros, but you know, we have to tell. We can't just show them our makeshift cones here and not tell them what actually happened. So the press has these giant behemoths, and you use these to kind of put them here, and you have a platform on the press. One of the guys that were helping us move here, decided to take these because they were falling off the press as we were carrying it back here, and put it literally right here. Just set it somewhere on top of the grinding wheel. Eros went to move the grinding wheel, which was sitting right there, and both of these, there's actually two of them, fell straight on the brand new floor that we just redid and chipped it. I think Eros was more upset than I was, because Eros is thinking, we just did the floor and all this mess and the floor has chips. I was thinking, I'd rather have the floor than your foot with that falling on it, because even if you have steel toe, this thing is extremely heavy. I mean, it could cause some serious damage to your foot here, so I'm glad nobody got hurt. Floor got hurt, but here's the cool thing. Because the owner of the company, or president, or whoever the nicest guy was that showed up here from the company, he gave us a little bit of epoxy, a little bit of hardener, so we can do touch-ups. We actually touched it up, and I have the cones just to let it dry and nobody would walk on it. So you can really hardly see it anymore, but there is 3 spots that we fixed here. Looks basically new. So this is Eros's signature on the floor, if you would. That's what we're going to call it here. There's actually another spot over by the compressor, which the compressor is misbehaving. That's the word here. And let me tell you what's happening with the compressor here. There is a fuse that keeps popping. Every week we go through a fuse here. Otherwise it works perfectly fine. Right now it's running. Well, it's not running, but it's on. We keep going through this fuse. I contact the company that sold me the compressor, who are an authorized dealer of Chicago Pneumatic. They are AWOL. No response to my text message, no response to my voicemail, no response to an email. Then I decided, how do you get attention of a company that's kind of incommunicado? I left them a very not nice review on Google, and at the end of the review I wrote, I really dislike leaving you a negative review, but you're leaving me no choice, and I'm open to change this review if you just make things right. Come and figure out what's going on with this. I kind of know what's going on with it. Apparently there's some kind of adjustment for the voltages and everything, but I'm not going to do that. I just paid a small fortune. Thing came with a warranty. Come and fix your product. So finally, actually this morning, they sent me an email and they're on their way today to make it right. So I'm a man of my word. The minute they make this right, I'm not looking for anything for free. Just make it right. Bottom line, I will take that review and I'm a happy camper. I'm not looking to leave reviews for a small business because, just because. No, just make it right and I'm very happy. This, finally, you can see it now that it doesn't stink. This is our kind of homemade differential fluid dispenser. So the top is an OTC dispenser. OTCs, whenever you see OTC, good stuff, very expensive though. And then a 5-gallon barrel, and then this is from, what was the name of that company, Eros, that you love?
Chemical Guys.
Chemical Guys. This is like a little dolly from Chemical Guys. Works really good, I really like it. So now we can just roll this to the car, take the hose, fill it up, and this is AMSOIL. I don't use the AMSOIL bucket, we just dump it here, it's just easier that way. We still have all the fluid stuff is all here. And yeah, this is pretty much nothing have changed here. We just kept things as they are. We actually do have to call the company because the coolant's getting full here. And that, by the way, in case you saw it, this is not just a random coffee cup lid. This is actually another area where the compressor was a nightmare to move because there's no way to move it. So actually we had a little scratch here that I touched up when we did that because I already have mixed up epoxy, so we took care of that. So there you have it, folks. I like the floor. We went darker color because the recommendation of the company. Initially I was a little nervous about it because darker color, everything's gonna look darker, but actually it doesn't. I really like it. It gives it like a kind of an interesting contrast, but we do want to upgrade the lighting here. Now that we have a little bit darker floor, I want more light. So we're gonna start looking at some options here. There's a company, Hyper Light, whatever. They were like, would you want to partner with us? I really don't like partnerships. I don't like sponsorships. I just want to be free. Just whatever comes on my mind, just tell it to you directly without having to go through anybody. So I started talking to them a little bit until they were like, we want you to do an unpackaging. And what do I know about lights? I know nothing about lights. How am I going to unpackage it and do all? So I'm just like, you know what? Well, we'll just buy the lights. I mean, we'll be fine. We'll just buy the lights. I don't want to enter a partnership for some lights. It's not worth it. Folks, this is the shop. I am super happy with it. And this shop has been a dream. A dream that I never had. Let's put it this way. I never thought in my life we were going to open an automotive shop. We started the YouTube channel. I was working at a dealership. Life was great. I never thought the YouTube channel was going to reach 400,000 subscribers, which, by the way, thank you so much for watching my channel. I really appreciate it. I never thought in 2 years we're going to get to this point, but here we are. And this shop kind of came again from an idea of in the moment, just like the YouTube channel started. We just thought, well, maybe we should open our own shop and see what happened. And things have been going great, really booked a lot ahead of time. We're actually, as we film this video, we're like August 23rd-ish. We're booked into October. So that's, for a new business, that is pretty good. I'm really happy. Things are going well. We're taking it easy. We're not overbooking ourselves because in the end, we want to focus on quality over quantity, and that's what we've been able to do here. We'll update you on some of the other cars, but we have another LS430 here. This one's actually a pristine condition one. We're not filming with this one, but you know that one. That's the Alabama LS430. We're gonna potentially film a video with this Camry to show you what's going on with it, and potentially film a video with a white Camry, because we really need to do an oil change. I'm gonna blame Eros for this one. Eros, you need to do an oil change on that, because, yeah. And this one we're actually filming right now. You'll see this come up in a video real soon here, and you'll see what's going on with it. And folks, one last thing before we close the video. There has been some issues with the camera. I will say one thing, it is not Eros's fault. Eros is doing a fine job. However, we are tweaking things. As now I have Eros, we're actually filming with the better camera that I have, but I am not an expert on cameras and all this stuff. So we're experimenting with different things. So some of you have said about the focus and all that coming in and out in some of the videos. Yes, we noticed these issues, but the videos were already filmed, so we can really refilm them at that point. But like this video and starting today filming, we actually made a few adjustments, so we're hoping they will help things get better for you guys, so you don't have that in and out of focus that can be annoying. Folks, thank you so much for watching my channel. On my behalf and Mrs. Karnat's behalf, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for your love and support, and thank you for 400,000 subscribers and all of you that came in, left voicemails, called, brought stuff to the shop. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And folks, until the next video, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and you have yourself a wonderful day.